What's up everybody, Jesse, Slot City Fishing, coming back at you with another video today. The shrimp run is still on. It's been a great year for shrimping, and I've been getting a lot of questions about how I find these shrimp. I've been limiting out on shrimp a lot lately. So today's video, I'm gonna give you my top 5 tips on how to find these shrimp, catch a bunch of them. So we just got the boat launched. We're gonna go over to a spot that I know has been producing, and then I'll start getting into these tips. All right, dudes, we made it out here. It's pretty choppy today, so safety first. Make sure you use a kill switch when you're traveling out. We're gonna try to get this video done though. All right, my tip number 1 for you is read local fishing reports. There's lots of ways that you can do this. A really good one now in the Facebook age is Facebook groups. So there's obviously a level of rapport that goes along with this. You want to be polite and go on there. Don't just ask, you got to actually contribute in these groups, you know? But most people are nice, like myself, you know, I don't mind sharing information, especially when they're thick like this. So go on your local groups, ask where they are. Like I'm out here at marker 10 by Doctor's Lake because I got a good report that the shrimp are out here. So tip number 1 is to check out your local reports. All right, then we'll get into tip number 2 is don't reinvent the wheel. Do what everybody else is doing. Today's not a great example because the river's pretty rough right now, but usually on a day when the shrimp are thick, you can come out and there'll probably be 10 or 15 other dudes out here in boats. Most people aren't selfish. You can roll right up to them and just do what they do, man. That's tip number 2. Just do what everybody else is doing. That can be at the pier or, you know, out here in the river. Just find what other people are doing. Like if you drive over Doctor's Lake Inlet Bridge over there and you see a bunch of boats sitting right there, they're shrimping, dude. So there you go. That's how you find some more shrimp. Tip number 3 on how to find shrimp is use your electronics if you have them. On this boat, I have a Garmin 94SV Echo Map, and then I also have Panoptics. It's pretty nice, but you don't have to have crazy nice electronics. I'll try to show you real quick what the shrimp look like in the water. That way you can go out here and find them yourself. Okay, I'm switched back over to my iPhone now. That way I can show you on my graph what shrimp look like. There's a couple different ways you can do it. The best and obvious way is to find a whole bunch of shrimp, and I'm already marking them. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so here on side scan, what it looks like is all that under the boat. If you can see it, that's all shrimp right there. Another really easy way to find them is it's called telephone poles. If you find things that are shooting straight up and down out of the water, that's the shrimp stacked up on top of each other. I'll try to find that real quick, that way I can show you. Okay, here's a really good example. That right there, those vertical plumes, that's all shrimp. Cast on that. Another really easy way that you can do it is if you're marking a whole bunch of bait fish. I may not be able to find that right now, but especially under bridges and stuff like that, if you're marking a whole bunch of fish, like bait fish, schools of bait fish, chances are that those fish are feeding on the shrimp. So you can cast on that, and chances are you'll probably get some. Now, another thing with the electronics is once you find the depth that the shrimp are holding at, stay on that depth and then work it horizontal, that whole depth line. And they're probably holding in that. So I'll try to do that real quick and show you what that looks like. Usually when I come out here, they're in about 14 to 19 feet. All right, so there's a bunch of stuff, 14 feet, all that shrimp that you see right there. So 15 feet, sorry if that was in my mouth. 15 feet, we'll turn and we'll parallel the shoreline. And then there should be a whole bunch of stuff at that 15-foot depth mark. Yep, so just like I was telling you, here's that 15 feet. And there it is, boom. So we know that they're holding around 15 feet. So we'll spot lock right here, or throw your anchor or whatever you do, and then throw around here. Now, another important thing with your electronics is it's easy to find where they're not. So if you're not marking anything, there's no point in even throwing your net right there, because they're not right there. If you're not catching shrimp, you're probably staying in the same spot for too long. So the shrimp, they obviously do move. We all know that. A lot of it has to do with the salinity of the water. For instance, if it rains a whole lot, like in your river systems, they're not going to be pushed way far back into the river because the salinity is too low for them, and that's when they start pushing up north. So if you're using your electronics or you're throwing your net and you're not getting any shrimp, there's no point in sitting there for a long time. Same thing on your piers. If you're at the pier or bridge or whatever and there's normally shrimp right there and you're not getting any shrimp, move. You have to move, because sometimes they're balled up just right in like a small general area. So don't waste a lot of time sitting in one spot. If you're not getting them on every throw, or if you're not getting the numbers that you are expecting out of that throw, like if you're only getting 2 or 3 and you want to get like 20 or 30, move. You may have to make a big move. It may be a small move, but always keep moving around. And then once you find those shrimp, spot lock, throw your anchor, and then just keep on throwing. And then we'll get into tip number 4. All right, dudes, before we get into steps 4 and 5, you're gonna wanna see those. I'm gonna teach you how to throw a big giant cast net. I wanna take a minute to thank Lightning Marine Electronics. He's the guy that did all the electronics work on my boat. When I first bought it, all the wiring was terrible. All like waterlogged, corroded, terrible. I brought him my electronics. He installed them all on my boat, did a fantastic job, rewired the whole thing. It's basically a brand new boat. So if you need electronics, he's a dealer for a bunch of different companies. He can help you figure out what you want, need, put it on there. Or if you have electronics and you don't have electronics issues right now, you're going to eventually. So if you're in Northeast Florida, remember Lightning Marine Electronics. He has a Facebook page. I'll put it down in the link below. And keep him in your back pocket, man, because he is legit. One time I broke down by Doctor's Lake. I met him at Doctor's Lake Marina, and he fixed my boat on the spot right there. So yeah, quick shout out to my buddy, Andrew Menard with Lightning Marine. Okay, so tip number 4, use a good net and let that net do the work for you. So what do I mean by that? A good net, you need to have a tight mesh net, one that the shrimp can't get through, obviously. And then the bigger the better. You want to throw a big net because obviously you're gonna fan it out bigger, and then let that net do the work for you. So when you throw it, you want to let it go all the way down to the bottom, and you want it to sit down there. And what that's gonna do for you is the shrimp are gonna know that something's up, and they're gonna start trying to get out. Well, your weights are gonna be fanned out in a big circle, and all those shrimp are gonna start making their way up into the top of the net, into the horn. That's where you want them to be. And then when you retrieve your net, you wanna slowly pull it, like almost bounce it. And what that's gonna do is slowly bring in those weights to cinch it up, and it's gonna funnel all those shrimp up into the horn of that net. So really slow, work it across the bottom and pull it in. That way you're scooping them up. And then once you can feel it that you're about to pull the weights off the bottom, quickly pull it up, because then they can't get out of it. Boom. Then we're gonna let that go all the way down to the bottom. Once I can see and feel that it's on the bottom, about like that, I can feel it pulling. We're gonna do that tip of slowly pulling it in. So my weights are fanned out right now in a big circle on the bottom, and there's probably shrimp all in there. And then if I bounce this weight up, it's gonna nudge those shrimp, and they're gonna try to get away by swimming up into the horn. Once they're in the horn, they're stuck. So I'm gonna pull it. All right, dudes, we got our cast net. Doesn't have to be any kind of special fancy one. If you have one with a spreader on it, that's definitely better because this water is pretty deep. Right now it's 18 feet. But anyway, I'm gonna show you how I throw the net. A lot of people don't like to throw it like this because you gotta put it in your mouth, which I guess is kind of gross, flesh-eating bacteria or whatever, but I ain't scared. Anyway, get your net. You wanna do a little loop. That way you can put it around your wrist. That way the net won't fly out of your hand. Then you wanna just do some over-under coils. Until you get up to this big swivel. Then grab the horn. That's this part. Put it in your open hand and pull it all where it's tight. Then all your lead lines, you want them to be straight and all of your lead to be like even, not on top of each other. So you got the horn in your open hand, grab it down about waist-ish, then do another loop with the net. Then you got all of it in your left hand. Then you want to spread it open with your right hand. And this part's important down here. You want to make sure that all these are parallel and not like wrapping around each other. Then do it about halfway. Grab the middle part and you're gonna put it in your mouth. But before I do that, I'll teach you the other half of it. Grab this line that you just made, this bottom half, pinch it between your thumb and your index finger, or you can hold it like that. Grab the rest of the net. And then you wanna hold this lead line, just like this. So to back up, and then this is a loaded net. Then when you throw it, you're gonna put a little bit of swing into it and then throw both your arms out into the air like you're gonna hug somebody. Hopefully this works. There you go. And then this water's deep, so you wanna let it go all the way down to the bottom. Then once you think it's about at the bottom, you wanna slowly pull it in like this. That's gonna cinch up the bottom while it's still on the ground. That way you're snagging up everything. Then if you do it right, you can coil it back up while you're bringing it in. That way you can load it up again. Boom. Ow. And there you go. Should we show them inside the live well? Mm-hmm. So we've only been doing this for what, like an hour, 2 hours maybe? An hour? I'd say probably an hour. Yeah. All right, then we're gonna get into tip number 5. And this one kind of contradicts tip number 1, but it goes along the same lines of like fishing also. The people who go out there the most catch the most. So you gotta keep on going out there. Try new things. If you're in a spot that's not producing, go somewhere else. If they weren't there that day because of the rain or because of you know, temperature or whatever, some things are out of your control. Go back, keep going back. The more that you go, the better you'll get at it, and then you'll start to figure it out, like the bottom contours, where they're holding. You'll learn new spots. A lot of people use bait for shrimp. That's not something that I particularly do, but you totally can. It's like fish meal and flour. They wet it and make it into big balls and throw it out, and you can bait them up. So that's tip number 5, is just keep going out there. If you have one bad day, don't get discouraged, because they're out here, man. Just keep on trying. All right, so there you go. There's my top 5 tips on how to catch shrimp. If you got any questions, comment down below, and I usually answer every question that people ask. Sometimes I get a little busy and it takes me a second, but I generally answer every question that y'all ask. So please ask questions. If this video helped you out and made you want to go try shrimping, you got anything useful out of it, please like the video and then subscribe to the channel, because we're always doing different stuff like this. I'm about to do a video, top 5 tips on how to catch pompano, because the pompano are thick right now on the beach. But yeah, man, I'm gonna keep on trying to catch these shrimp, and I'll see you guys on the next video.